Welcome to Trifecta Talks. My name is Brandon.
I'm Brian.
I'm Jared.
And at Trifecta Talks, we are going to talk the latest and greatest in the video game industry. So this is our first episode, so welcome.
Heyo.
And Ayo, how's it going?
We're doing good.
Doing
So if you like what you see, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification to get notified every time we make an upload, so you can join us on all the conversations that we're having. This is going to be a weekly podcast, so we can't wait to hear some of your stories and see your inputs and what kind of topics that we'll talk about in the future. And you can talk about all those topics in the description. We have a Discord. You can join that Discord. We talk about all the greatest things about gaming, but also movies, books, all kind of pop culture stuff that might interest you. So with that being said, we're going to get the ball rolling and get into our first topic, or as I like to call the boot up of the talk, is we're just going to go around and talk about our favorite RPGs. Anyone want to start?
Brian.
I'm starting. Okay. So
that way I can laugh now.
Oh, stop. I have two games in mind. After looking at the list, I had one, but then now I have two after Brandon sent out our topics of discussion for today. So initially, I was only going to choose Pokemon Sapphire because it's the one I got into the most as a kid on Game Boy. I still have a copy of it, my original copy, and I just love it to pieces. Honestly, I think in part to the music. I think the music is an all-timer, and it's super underrated, especially in the opening town in Little Root. It's just like every time I listen to it, I get emotional. It might just be I'm biased because I played it as a kid and it reminds me of my childhood. But it's just like a nice, like, heartwarming opening little song, and then like the battle music is always like top notch, and the battle music against the legendary Pokemon's top notch. The artwork in the game is fantastic. I think it has some of the best Pokemon designs ever, not only with the Pokemon themselves, but just in the towns and everything, the environments, then the caves and forests and everything. I think it's all just super top notch. I think it has the best 3 starters ever. Some people might disagree, and they'll go Kanto in like the original red and blue and yellow, and fire red, leaf green.
What is your favorite Pokemon? Do you have one?
One I always go to is Trico, because he's my favorite starter ever, and I think he's also a really underrated one because I feel like the grass types are always overlooked, especially in this game, because you have Torchic, who then eventually becomes Blaziken, and Blaziken's an all-time favorite among like other people, and Mudkip is probably the unanimous favorite starter in that game. But I think Trico is all around probably the best one, especially Sceptile, like the final evolution. And Grovyle is probably, in my opinion, maybe the best mid-evolution one there. They're all very, every one of them, they're very good, very fast, they're very strong. They just feel like the best to play with, I think, in my opinion. I also love Kyogre, who's the main legendary in Sapphire. I just love his big old whale-looking frame. I had to work around some words there, but it's just I don't know. The lore behind those is really cool too, is with Kyogre and Groudon and Ruby, and then you have Emerald with I'm gonna butcher the name. I've used Rayquaza for years. I've heard it's Rayquaza as well. However you pronounce it. I think that all 3 legendaries are super, like, just fantastic. But in Sapphire specifically, I think Kyogre's great. And that game revolutionized movement in Pokemon. They introduced the bike system, which I think changed the game. I don't think people talk about it enough in Pokemon games. Everybody talks about the sprinting. Yeah, everybody talks about sprinting and swimming and stuff like that, and flying, even though you really can't control the flying. But the biking is so fast, so smooth. It's really just not brought up enough. and Alpha Sapphire, I think, is a seamless remake. I think they should do it one more time if they ever wanted to, or just put Pokemon Sapphire on the emulator thing for Game Boy Advance for Switch. Even though I don't know if they ever will, because their Game Freak is too involved in the newer Pokemon, which is fine. But I think they should totally go for that.
Just you talking about it makes me want to try it out.
It's so worth it, honestly. Even if you were to like find a PC emulator of it, they're super easy to find. It's so much fun to play. You're gonna dig right into it and have a great time. My other RPG is a polar opposite to Pokemon. Pokemon's a kid-friendly, family-friendly game anybody can pick up and play. The other one is Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
It is gritty. It's violent. It's an absolute blast, and I don't know why I didn't initially think of this one. I think it is. You could very well argue it's the best sequel to a game ever. And not just in the case that it's a great game.
That's a hot take.
It's a hot take, but it's not my hot take I have for later. But you could very well argue, and not just in the case that it's a great game, because a great game, a sequel can just be a great game, and that's that. It could be. You could argue that game is like just as good as its predecessor. With many different franchises, but in this one, I think it takes everything that was good about the first Borderlands game and takes it over and gets rid of everything that was bad about the first one. I think the first one is, while it's very fun and has a lot of great characters and everything, it has a fairly boring story. The open world is a little bland. It's just desert. Upon playing through it, I found that once I finished the first one, I really had no desire to go back and play through it again.
The DLC is pretty good in the first one.
The DLC's good.
Yeah.
But it's a fine. It's not two. Two is it's one of the better FPSs we've seen in maybe the last 10, 15 years.
That's a bold statement.
I think it.
Yeah, is that a hot take?
It's good.
I don't know
another
if that's
hot take. Listen,
or if that's just bold.
But Borderlands 2 has a lot going for it, and it's an arguable perfect game. I think it has the best selection of characters out of any Borderlands game. It literally every single character you pick on, or every single how do I word this? You could pick any character and have a completely different way of playing through it.
Yeah, 100%.
Each character plays completely differently.
100%.
I think the DLCs are some of the best for a game in a very long time. Characters, stories, everything. It has a fantastic story. I think the story is miles ahead of the first one. It has one of the best villains maybe ever in a video game, Handsome Jack, who has spawned a whole fandom of his own, which is unprecedented for a game like that. You would think it would just be the protagonist and that's it. But now you have Handsome Jack, who has been at the forefront in not only Borderlands 2, but in the Telltale game Tales from the Borderlands, and then, which also is a fantastic story. I'll get into that game at another time. And then Borderlands pre-sequel, where you not only he's there, he's a protagonist pretty much the entire time. You can also play as him in one of the DLCs. So he's one of the most that game spawned an entirely profitable singular character. The environments have vastly improved from the first one. It has a wide variety. It's not just desert. You have whole greenhouse environments. You have all different sci-fi fantasy things. It's not just a Mad Max environment. They took the Mad Max elements and put you in every single possible thing they could think of. You have Mustafar style lava places. It's nuts. The bosses are insanely fun to play against, and they make sense. A lot of them, they don't just throw a lot. They throw some in for fun because it's a game like that. But you have for example, against what was Mordecai's bird there. I can't think of his name at the moment.
Yep.
That's a whole boss fight, and it feels it's almost sad taking him down, because if you played as Mordecai in the first game, which I did, you get kind of connected to that character, and that one you have to take him down, and it's very unfortunate.
Spoilers, Brian.
The game's been out for over 10 years. Leave me alone. It's my first podcast episode. I'll learn. But it's
very
just
passionate.
I love that game to pieces, and I think people will crumb on other people for buying the same game on multiple consoles. I'm not going to crumb on you if you buy Borderlands 2 on multiple consoles, because
I like that word. Like it.
Because I bought Borderlands 2
sound
on
off in the chat,
consoles.
crumb.
Quote
because
it.
I initially played Borderlands 2 on one of its first consoles, which was Xbox 360, and then I got it on Xbox One, and then I bought it on PC, and then I bought it in a bundle on Nintendo Switch. So it plays great across every console, since it was initially made on the 360 PS3 generation of consoles. So it plays seamlessly on everything. I think it's a great game to get on Switch if you want to play something a lot of fun. Just a great FPS to play on the go, and just PC. I think it looks insanely good on that, and it just looks good on everything. But yeah, Borderlands 2 I'm very passionate about Borderlands, and I cannot wait for the fourth one, which is crazy that they announced it. So yeah, Pokemon Sapphire.
It was announced.
It was announced. We'll see what happens. Borderlands 3 was fine, so we'll see what happens. I have faith in them. So, but yeah, Pokemon Sapphire and Borderlands 2.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Of course.
Jared, did you want to go next?
I mean, I don't know if I have enough ammunition to talk long enough about my favorite RPG like Brian just did. Jeez, Owen. Oh man, it's funny.
Just make talk from the heart.
Yeah, right.
That's what I did. I have no notes. This is straight passion, Jared.
Brian's out here writing love poetry for Borderlands 2.
Borderlands
exactly.
2 fan fiction out here.
Fresh off the dome. Come on now, Jared.
Taking
Brian,
all the crumbs.
On something tonight.
I won't crumb on you, Jared.
Thanks, guy. I don't think I'd want you to anyways, even if you tried, but that's okay. But my Borderlands 2 is also one of my favorite RPGs of all time. We've talked about this before. I've put many, many hours into Borderlands 2. So fun, so replayable, a blast with other people. I'm not going to speak any more about it like in depth because you've already hit it on the head. So I'll name two more that are my favorite. One of them is Brandon's, I already know. And the other one is one you guys haven't talked about yet. But the one I'll say is Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is the best Fallout game and my favorite Bethesda game. The story, the level design, the weapons, the environments, the characters that you meet along the way, everything about that game is near perfect RPG for me. By today's standards, it feels a little dated, but playing it on PC kind of reinvigorates it for me because it plays a lot smoother. It just plays a lot smoother, the higher frame rate, all of it. So that game is just amazing. And the DLC is really great too. And then the other one is Kingdom Hearts 1, which is the polar opposite of Fallout. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a game I've played through probably more than any other game out there. And it is just a game. Every time I play it, I'm still discovering new things. It's like little nuances here and there, little things that they threw in, attention to detail. It's really fantastic on a now 20 plus year old game. 20 years old.
20
come out
plus years old, yes.
Yeah, something like that. It's when they were still Squaresoft. What was that, like 12?
I think it's
2002?
2002.
2004?
2002, and then, I think it was 1 in Japan.
And then Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2005. Anyways, that's a separate conversation.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 1 is amazing. I won't spend too much time on talking in depth about it. I feel like those two games have been talked about pretty in depth.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. That's all I got. Go ahead.
So yeah, as Jared mentioned, Kingdom Hearts is probably number one. So I picked three. I picked three because I couldn't pick just one, and obviously that sounds like the rest for you guys as well. So my number one is definitely Kingdom Hearts, and I just don't say that for number one. I think speak for the whole franchise as a great RPG, and I think I say that for a lot of reasons. But I think one of the reasons I say it's great is that it's an easy RPG to get into for a lot of people, and for me, it was my first kind of real RPG.
The first game.
What's that?
The first game's easy to get into.
The first game's easy to get. I'm just saying, like, and you can hop in now. Like, you can easily on PS4 get the whole collection right now and play through it.
I see.
And
Yeah.
it's just readily available.
Yeah.
Some games are a bit difficult, like Chain of Memories, where it's a great story, but the gameplay is like not obviously meant to be played on a console. It was meant more for Game Boy, it was originally on. But yeah, but I think that's what I like about Kingdom Hearts is that they're willing to test the grounds and try different things and not be the same thing over and over again, like how JRPGs were always. It was always the same kind of like, I mean, it kind of parodies it a little bit, just like the whole light versus dark, but they're willing to test out different types of battle mechanics that change the game up a little bit more and keep players coming back. And, you know, obviously Disney being the big buy-in for a lot of people too. But another thing I really like about the game is the music is phenomenal. Probably top three best video game soundtracks of all time. You can easily listen to a song and it'll take you back to what that moment was and those emotions that you got from that scene alone or whatever you were doing in the game. So it's a really great soundtrack that can speak on so many levels, and I think that's where it belongs. It's just an all-around great game. Again, so my second game is also another one that's like turned on its head, where it's definitely not like the first. And it's probably because I'm playing the new one now, but it's the Mario and Luigi series is such a great RPG series. Solely just because of the fact I feel like this game franchise has always been Nintendo's playground in some ways, where they've gone to the weird side of things. Just like how they did in early years of Paper Mario, but I feel like they did it a lot better with Mario and Luigi. So like, you know, you had games like, you know, Inside Bowser, where the Mario Brothers went inside Bowser's body and you would, you know, take the story on from there, and you'd also control Bowser on the outside. So things that you did inside Bowser would also affect on the outside too. So that was a really cool mechanic. Yeah, you never played it?
No.
It's awesome. They did the same thing too with Dream Team, that was the infamous Year of Luigi, where you would go inside Luigi's dreams, but the things you did in the dreams would affect real time in Luigi's mind. So there's some cool concepts, and you know, unfortunately the studio went down just because they weren't making ends meet, and the last couple games that they were making weren't doing well for them. So they're back now with Brothership, which is what I'm currently playing, and it is such a return to form, and I'm so glad to see them finally get their pep back in their step. So I'm glad to see the game's back rocking and rolling again. And if you guys haven't played a Mario Luigi game, I recommend it. I don't know how, but I recommend trying a game. I think my favorite one has to be in Bowser's Inside Story. It just has a really fun concept, and you get to actually play as Bowser and do RPG stuff as Bowser. So you get to be in battles as Bowser. So it's a really awesome game, and you get to command your troops too as Bowser. So it's awesome. It's a really great franchise, and I feel like that's where Nintendo really goes off the deep end, and they really have fun with what they have. And I'll wrap this up real quick. And it's another Square game, and that is not just Final Fantasy VII in general, but specifically the Final Fantasy VII remakes they've been putting out. Those games, and take notes, other developers who are doing remakes, because that's how you do a remake. In all seriousness. Because I think the best part about Final Fantasy VII Remake is, you know, along with the music and the visuals, is that the story is expanded. They've taken this game that used to be just one game on 2 discs, is now a trilogy, but with the trilogy now, they're able to, take deeper dives and also change the story a bit to tweak it so that it feels more heroic and adventurous, and not just a quick one-time thing. And just is the sequel, Integrate. I can't remember exactly what they called it, but the second one, yeah, the second one is like huge, like massive. Rebirth. That's it. Yes. I knew it was like they're going with the remake.
I think Integrate was the name of the
the PS5 version.
When they went to PS5.
Yeah. So that second game is probably my favorite, and I only know there's only been 2 of them, but they really take advantage of what they have on the newer consoles, and that world is so expansive that I found myself getting side quested a lot than continuing on with the story. Kind of like how Breath of the Wild was, or Tears of the Kingdom. I got so sidetracked doing side quests than caring about the main story, and you feel the progress as you do those side quests. So there's a lot to love about the remakes. Classic is a classic. I get it. I understand. But Square finally figured out the math problem to making a good remake. And that's, not just making a straight up remake, but tweaking things that you couldn't do before and making them available now to players. So that's all.
That's pretty good. That's good.
Yeah.
Making me want to play it. I played a little bit of the remake. I really liked it. I like the real-time combat in Final Fantasy more than I like the turn-based. I like turn-based stuff, but in particular that game made the real-time action just awesome.
That game I tried. So is it 15? Because 15 also does the real-time, I believe. Or is it 14? No, it's 15.
I think it's
15's the one. Yeah. And that one is rough around the edges when it comes to the real time. But what I like about 7 is that it is real time, but they did keep a lot of the RPG elements where it is turn based, because you can command other people while playing as one person.
Yeah, that's cool.
And switch off if you want to a different person. So there's a lot to love that takes in from the classic, but it also adds new things that I think helps it for a new audience to get involved too.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet. I got a question. When did Brotherships come out for Mario? Because that release caught me off guard.
Like last week.
Really?
Thursday.
I was looking through the eShop on Nintendo and just seeing what was out for new releases, and I saw Brothership was like ranked number 2 for top selling games at the moment, and I'm like, there's already a new Mario game. This is crazy.
I think what's crazy to think is, somebody brought this up to me, is that is probably going to be the last original Switch game. Like,
really?
Everything else from here is going to be remakes, ports, or dual games that'll go both on Switch and Switch 2. Because right now,
in terms of AAA Nintendo stuff,
right? Because all we have right now, we could get one more. But right now it's Metroid Prime 4, which we can say is definitely going to be on both Switch 1 and Switch 2. Easily. It's going to be a day one launch for the Switch 2. Then there's Donkey Kong Country Returns, which was already on Wii. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Or, no, just
X.
It's a Xenoblade X, which was on...
That's the Wii U. Was the Wii U one.
But good to Xenoblade people. I've never played it, but now you can play all the Xenoblade games on Switch.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see that might be the last game, but we'll see. I have my doubts because they just haven't announced anything yet for the new Switch, and I definitely know they're not going to announce anything until at least January. So I don't know, but we'll see. I've seen Nintendo do some crazy things.
They have.
So, anyways, I won't get sidetracked. That's a conversation for another day. We're going to talk a little bit about the big birthday in the room, and that is PlayStation's 30th birthday.
I was going to say the same thing. Everybody start singing now.
Happy birthday to you.
Are you 1? Are you 2? Are you 3? Are you?
This is awkward. Can we move on?
In
This is making
all
me
serious
uncomfortable.
though, in all seriousness, it is PlayStation's 30th birthday. For 30 years, PlayStation has been
Damn.
living by the mantra to bring players
It's crazy.
great single player experiences.
Feel
What's
old.
currently their quote? I forget. What do they say these days? PlayStation.
Play at something limits. Play at all limits.
Yeah.
Play something
Play
limits.
does not have limits, or limit has no
Yeah,
play,
some-
or play has no
something like
limits.
that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot, and that has changed over the years. Obviously, play has no limits, but I think with PlayStation, it's truly been a great mantra for them, a great tagline. Is as they keep advancing, you think, man, PS2 had like iToy, and the PlayStation with the whole mini portable screen that had it. PS3, you could play 3D. You could play games in 3D if you had a 3D TV. So
Yep.
there was a lot of innovation happening, almost to the point where it was almost kind of Nintendo feeling. So yeah, I just wanted to reminisce a little bit about that, and talk about our time with PlayStation has been like. So, starting off, I think we can all agree, and maybe not, I don't know, but my first console was the first PlayStation. I was very young. I had no obvious, I didn't have a mind for video games yet. I was still rocking diapers at the time, but my parents were very much into gaming still. They were young, so they understood that world and what was coming and whatnot. So they had a PlayStation, and we had games. I think the one I was most fond with was Crash Bandicoot. That was the one I got attached to the most, probably at such a young age. And then as I grew up, I continued with PlayStation. I did get a PlayStation 2. I had a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube, so I was playing both Nintendo games and PS2 games. But at that time, still, I kind of wasn't sure. I didn't get the grand scheme of PlayStation and their mascots, and and same for the Nintendo too. Except for Mario, that was like I knew Mario, and that was it. I wasn't even playing Wind Waker or Twilight Princess yet at that time when I had a GameCube, so it was strictly Mario games and Melee. I had Melee too, and the funny part about Melee is like I think back at that day, and I didn't know any of those characters, but I've grown up so much now that I can recognize every character from every franchise. So with that, for PlayStation 2, I didn't have much as far as exclusives went. I skipped PS3, and we went straight to Wii. And then the PS4 came out, and I didn't get a PS4 until the tail end of my college years. So that was like 2019, because it was the year Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out, and I needed to play Kingdom Hearts 3. So and funny story, I got refunded money from college, so I got some money to go and buy my PlayStation. So for my PS4, I actually got into a lot of like PlayStation exclusives. So it was like I got into Spider-Man. Just so much. I feel like I can't even name them all. I had PS Plus, so I was able to touch on every point, from like Last of Us to Uncharted. I feel like to me, PS4 was probably my favorite console, and to others it might be different, just solely because of the fact that
Don't worry about it. Sorry to get sidetracked. The chair I'm sitting on is so uncomfortable. I was literally about to just give up. I had to grab an extra pillow to sit on it. It is literally just a stool that I'm sitting on.
Brian, would you like to make a call for help?
No, I'm fine now.
Anyways,
it's the fact that you tried to get up so discreetly without you didn't want anybody noticing it, and then you sit, and then you slowly walk back into frame. It's just like
I was trying to adjust. I have stuff behind me that I don't want to knock over.
Oh man!
But we're doing better now. Anyway, continue.
PlayStation. So yeah, PS4 was probably my favorite, just because that is where I had I had PlayStation Plus, or at the time it was PS Play, PlayStation Play, which was before PS Plus combined into PlayStation Play. That was where you could download a vast library of games for free with a separate subscription from PS Plus. So that was beneficial because I got to play a lot of stuff that I missed out during the years of PlayStation. So I played Last of Us. I got to play. Did
you ever play
what's the one with the robots? I played Uncharted. I played all Uncharted during that era.
The robots. Oh, Knack?
No, not Knack. It was the one where you could choose decisions.
It's a robot.
Someone in
What
the
game is
comments
it?
will tell me. It's the one where like you choose. There's like humans and robots. One of them's like a cop. Mr. Krabs is in it.
Oh! Detroit. Become human. That one.
Oh, Detroit Become Human?
Detroit Become Human. Yes.
Well, I know. I was adding on to Jared's answer.
You said it
Yes.
I
like,
was adding on to his.
You said it. I said, no one else in the room had said the exact same thing.
So yes, Detroit Become Human. Parappa the Rappa. So basically, I had a great time on PlayStation 4 because I was finally living out what PlayStation was doing throughout all their years. And I'm so glad I got to enjoy that on PS4. And with that, I continued to get a PSVR. And today I now have a PS5 with the PSVR 2. And I am still strongly supporting PlayStation to this day, along with Nintendo. But I feel like every household has a Nintendo, and then you either choose PlayStation or Xbox or PC.
That's me.
And Brian.
Well,
And me. To
Brian
an
also,
extent.
yeah. Brian
I play a little bit of everything. Yeah.
That's fair. So
I play
yeah,
smaller
that's
games on PC.
that's basically my time with PlayStation. Did you guys have anything you want to share?
Jared?
So, one game you failed to mention for the PS1. In our prior discussions, we have mentioned this game, but you did not mention it. That's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Listen, I wanted
Harry Potter and the Chamber of
to
Secrets.
take the role.
You wanted me to do that. All right, that game is legendary. Both those games are amazing. I know they've been like memed to death, but they're really fun, simple adventure games. I mean, they're just fun. They're good for kids, and they're not overly hard to figure out. And the other one you didn't mention either was Spyro. Spyro the Dragon's awesome. Those first three games are awesome.
So again, I did not get to Spyro on the first PlayStation. My first introduction to Spyro was the Reignited trilogy.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then after I played the originals on PS Vita.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of, I forgot that I had a PS Vita and a PSP.
Oh!
Wait!
We're never gonna get through this podcast.
I think we're doing a great job. Look
My
all the views
other,
go up.
And there go all of our subscribers.
the other, my other favorite memory with especially the PS2 is the first time my favorite game of all time is on PS2, and that's Bully. That is my 100% favorite game ever made, and that's where it started. And Bully is phenomenal, and I've played through that game just as much as I played through Kingdom Hearts. What else? PS3, got Uncharted, Last of Us. I'm sure I'm missing something in there for sure. PS4 also had some good one, like Until Dawn and Spider-Man. Oh, God of War. See, I'm not a big God of War guy. I know some people are going to give me flack for that.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I tried the first. I've played the original a little bit and thought it was really wild and crazy. And I said, maybe not for me. Now, as an adult, I'd probably really like it. But
So
and
wait,
then
but have
the
you
20.
played?
Well, I was
Sorry,
gonna say
you
I've
were
played a
just
little
gonna-
bit of
yeah.
the 2018 one, and I liked what I played. I just never finished it.
The second one, Ragnarok. That game broke me. For such a dude like of who he is, that game made me cry at the end. No, I'm serious. People, whoever's watching this right now,
I just like your description, dude.
he was a dude.
He's a dude's dude.
He's a man's man, dudes. No, I
This
got it.
dude-
It was just, it's just the way that you just
You could
and the
crack
fact
a
that you
cold
have
one
this
with this guy.
and the fact that you have this one straight of hair coming down from your face too, as you're
It
describing.
really sells it.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a great franchise.
Brian, do you have any memories with Sony? Current, old?
With Sony. So unlike you guys, my first console was not PS1. It was off topic from Sony, but it was the Game Boy
Was it
Advance. But my
Dreamcast?
first place, it was a Dreamcast. It was actually the Nintendo the Vision, the one where the VR one, like from
The Virtual
80s.
Boy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It was a Virtual Boy. No, it was the Game Boy Advance. But
He was like, "How can games get
The-
any
the
better
flip-
than this?"
exactly. But my first at home my first at home console was the PS2, it's the PlayStation 2. And I didn't play a lot of PlayStation exclusives growing up. I was into a lot of licensed titles. So like you had mentioned, like some stuff like Harry Potter and stuff like that. I'm big into like Lego Star Wars, so that's how I got into it.
Well,
Especially the first
I
one.
think that is a big contender for PlayStation. I would say it's
Mhm.
it's very big. Excuse me, because at the time, I mean, you did have Xboxes out there, but I would say at that time, Lego was on the rise. And look at where we are now.
100%.
Look at where we are now, because you speak Legos, and now we're getting a Lego game based on a PlayStation IP.
Okay. You know what's crazy? When I was looking through the eShop, I saw that on there, and I think it's the wildest thing.
It is the
Like,
wildest thing, but the smartest thing they could ever do. It looks great.
It's so interesting. I'm so interested. It's like one of the last franchises I would have thought would have gotten a Lego game. It makes sense, like thinking about it, but I would have never in a million years thought about it. But yeah, so I played a lot of Lego Star Wars, stuff like that. A lot of Star Wars in general. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is one of my favorite games ever, and that's what I started with. That was the console I started with it on. Stuff like other like movie adaptations like Cars, which is one of the best, if not the best, movie to video game adaptation ever. I think it's perfect. But I also played, I think, like Finding Nemo. I played on PS2 as well growing up. And then I played a lot of a couple licensed racing games. I had a Ford Mustang racing game. I remember growing up.
I had a Corvette one.
I think I had a Corvette one too. But I remember playing the Ford Mustang one a lot, and that one was really cool.
What was the one? Was it Midnight Club?
Yes,
That's Rockstar.
Yeah.
But that was a very Cars game. That was a very there were different type of cars in that.
Different type of cars, and they had an open world.
Movement. That was a huge movement on PlayStation 2, I feel like. What is so funny, Jared?
You're just like, that's a Cars game. It has different types of cars.
Well, what I mean is, like, I feel like during that PlayStation 2 era, you saw a lot of games that were all about the sports cars. Thank you, Brian.
It's all about the cars.
That really were a generation for like sports cars and luxury cars.
Yes, absolutely.
And people were so fascinated by like those type of things.
I just think that's the way you describe a car game. It has cars, all different types of cars. It's like, great job, pal.
I'm contributing to the podcast.
Well, on that topic, very briefly, like you would see Xbox come flying out of the gates with their own exclusive titles with like Forza, like trying to like, encapsulate what made racing games great, and then just keep it on their own consoles for years, and
Yeah.
then make Horizon and Motorsport and have them be polar opposite games and like completely different fan bases, but people love them both like equally. But the racing game market definitely like took off with those. I had
There's Gran Turismo as well.
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, that's a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah, that one's awesome.
One of my favorite racing games of that era is Crash Nitro Kart, and I still have that copy of it. It's not a lot of people talk about that one, and I think
that's the PS2 one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah, that is actually the only Crash Bandicoot game I've ever owned. So that's technically like my like.
That's hilarious. That's the only one.
Yes,
That's
the only one. I've never really gotten into the other Crash Bandicoot games. I've gotten into like the racing stuff. So
I get that.
I guess that's might be the only like PlayStation exclusive game that I had growing up until like then I got into like PS4 and stuff like that, which moving on, then I sat on Xbox for a long time, got the 360, and then I got the Xbox One, and then eventually I hopped on the PS4 train like only like a year or two before the PS5 came out, and then I got into that and I played through like Spider-Man's one of my all-time favorite games now.
Great game.
I picked up the God of War like reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. I have a couple other titles that I really want to check out on there. Speaking of Horizon, I have Horizon Zero Dawn. I really want to check that one out.
It's pretty good.
This is gonna shock you guys. I still have not played Last of Us, so that's a bombshell. That's a bombshell for a gaming podcast, right?
At least play the first one.
Yes, and I have So I have the first one physically. I have Horizon Zero Dawn physically. Those are games I definitely do like want to get into and dig into, because I do want to get into more story based games. But yeah, the PS4, and then I had in between that, like how Brandon forgot he had the PS Vita, I forgot I had the PSP. That one was a lot of fun. I got Battlefront 2 on that one as well. That was a pretty seamless what do you call it? Like not a transition, but like
port.
A port. There you go, a port. Had a couple wrestling games on there. I'm a big WWE guy, so had a couple of those on there. Had some Lego games on there as well. Those were a lot of fun to play on the go and had them actually look like home console like quality to an extent, because I had played like Lego Star Wars on the DS and like the original Nintendo DS, and it's like fine for what it is, but playing something like that on the PSP and it actually feels like a PS2 game is really cool. And I had a couple other games here and there, but PS2, PSP, and PS4 have been my foray into the PlayStation consoles.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool, man.
Here's my question to everyone. I think we all sounds like we all have a favorite console, but I think what PlayStation is very well known for is having way too many mascots, and they just can't seem to pick one that they really want to represent PlayStation. Up until recently, until Astrobot, which I think is right now the winner until they push him away. But I have high hopes that they keep Astrobot and they keep him really close to their heart, and they do more with him.
Sackboy got screwed. All right, Sackboy got completely screwed over.
We need Sackboy to return.
So, Mike, is that your favorite?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't even mention it. Yeah, Little Big Planet is amazing. And Sackboy deserves to be their mascot. Okay? Because he was their mascot through those PS3 years. And so just for that alone, he deserves to be at the forefront. Get a new game. He had one on PS4, PS5, dual release. Big Adventure, I think is what it's called. It's pretty fun. But as in terms of like a mainline Little Big Planet made by the original developers, Sackboy at the helm, I think. Yeah. Sackboy.
Yeah, that's my hope too. I feel like Sackboy is not entirely gone because I just still think there is a fan base out there that still remember him. I mean, again, he was on PS5. He was a launch day for the PS5.
What was that a launch? What the Sackboy game was the launch day game? Okay.
That was a launch title game for the PS5. So I think he still holds dear to many people. If it were me, if I were to do another Sackboy game, and I know it's very limiting the audience, but I can imagine the infinite amount of possibilities you could do with a Sackboy game in VR. Infinite possibilities.
Oh, that's
because
a good
that
idea.
game strives for because they do PS4 has Dreams, which is on VR.
Yeah, and that's Media Molecule. That's the same developers of the original.
Same people, right?
Yeah.
So either they do that again, but add that Sackboy flair to it, or we get a new Dreams, or whatever. But I think they can meld the two together and really make something incredible from there. But I don't think he's dead yet. I think I will hold out hope for Sackboy.
Brian, who do you want to come back? Who do you mascot wise? What are we talking?
Well, you
Mascot-wise?
don't have to have them to come back. Just your favorite.
This is my favorite. Well, we could talk about comeback as well.
Sure.
This character has not been gone for a while. If they were to come back, I would welcome them back with open arms. I know PlayStation likes to opt for more like fantasy, sci-fi like element in terms of mascot because it's not nicer to look at, but like it pops more. Something like Sackboy, Astro Boy, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, stuff like that. But someone like Nathan Drake, I think, is a perfect mascot because Uncharted is a fantastic franchise.
Amazing.
And they could reboot it if they ever wanted to. We just got a movie not too long ago, so there's obviously still some love for him, and some people would like to see him back. We just got a spinoff as well. So if they were to bring back Nathan Drake with either some like even if there was like adventures in between each games, or if they just completely rebooted him once the newer PlayStations come out, I think people would like it.
Well, he has spoilers. He has a daughter now
That's true.
in the games. So
That's
they
true.
can follow his daughter.
So they could do that as well. So I think it definitely leaves the door open for some kind of return to the world of Uncharted or Nathan Drake, whichever. But yeah, that's what I would say. I would say Nathan Drake.
Let's bring
Mason.
Sly Cooper back.
Where's Sly Cooper? I have.
He's living off all the money he stole from all those banks.
I never got into Sly Cooper, but Sly Cooper has not been around for a long time.
Long time. I mean, people talk about
Yes,
dormant
too.
franchises, but that one I think is the most dormant. You know, we've still gotten Ratchet and Clank. I mean, we didn't get a recent Jack and Daxter, but it lived longer than Sly Cooper ever did. I think.
No. Technically, Sly Cooper is longer because Sly Cooper had a brand new game on PS3, where Jack and Daxter only got HD remakes on PS3.
But what was that
I guess it depends on
PSP
how you
game?
look.
When did that PSP game come out?
That's a good question. The Lost Frontier. I don't know.
Yes. I know it's not the greatest, but
I don't know when that came
Still
out.
Still
counts.
like a new entry. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is the latest one. I guess it depends. Yeah, but I don't know.
But I think
Not
Sly could come back in grand colors. I mean, the PS5 itself with the controller would be great. Like if we had mechanics where like you also had to be quiet, so like the microphone can't hear you. So like if you spoke into the mic, it would disrupt the flow of being Sly. You know, just stuff like that would enhance the game a little bit more fun and really play into being a secret thief and whatnot. And maybe it's not Sly. Maybe it's, you know, because I've seen it a lot happen recently where just games take inspiration and they start something new, which is fine with me. But I just feel like we need to bring Sly back, as I feel like he just hasn't been talked about off recently. He was going to have a movie. The movie got canceled. I mean,
I was going to bring that up earlier.
yeah.
Mhm.
So Sly Cooper, bring my boy back.
I think they just got scared because of that Ratchet and Clank movie, right? Because that movie didn't do super hot, and I think maybe they got a little scared, and then they decided, nope, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, the game did better.
That's what I was going to say. The game got better, not only better reviews, but it just made more money than the movie did, which is so wild.
Yeah, the game's really good.
It's funny how like it's one of those instances where like you think that they're making the movie they're making the game based off the movie, but in reality they're making the movie based off the game. Does that make sense? Like the game came first, they were like, we should make a movie about this game that we're remaking, and then they made the movie.
Isn't that game like almost a full-fledged remake of the original game?
That's a great question. I don't know for sure. I feel like there's tweaks. There might be some tweaks to match the movie, but I think majority of it is still like the first game, as where a lot of the gameplay is very simple. It's not as extreme. It was a return to form. Let's just put it that way, because at that point, PS3 was just filled with, and I don't want to upset anybody, but a lot of Ratchet and Clank games on PS3 were garbo. It felt like shovelware. In some ways, there were some of the ones that were like,
that's a hot take.
It's a hot take, but a lot of them were like that. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like that Skylander style where like everything was like in a top-down perspective, and some of them were, not all of them, but like the ones that were like super co-op-y.
I'll let our comment section kind of rip you on that one, because you had two games on the PS3 and oh my god, Tools of Destruction and A Rift in Time, and those two games are pretty awesome. The one you're thinking of is All for One. That's the one you're thinking of. That's the top-down perspective.
But do people like that one?
That I don't know. But you just said most of them, if not all of them, are, in your words, garbo.
Well, some of them were. Well, maybe I'm not thinking all PS3.
I want you guys to quote that and never let him forget it, that he called those games garbo.
Sounds like we have a playthrough to get through then.
We should do it. We should play through those. Yes,
that'd be a fun
absolutely.
one.
Yeah. All for One. The best game on PS3.
Well, you said all of them were.
All right. Yes, I did.
That's what you said.
But I'll take it in the comic section. Anyways, so that's awesome. Yeah. So if you're listening, PlayStation, let's get these players these mascots back in the spotlight. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about the future of PlayStation. So right now, we just had the Pro release. It's out. People have it in their hands. And I'm pleasantly surprised at the good reviews it's getting. People aren't knocking it for the price. It's very worth the price. The PSSR feature that they highly praised works phenomenally. I don't think anybody's had some crucial issues with it. I think people are coming to realize with the fact that if you're someone who's not going to play on PC, then yes, the PS5 Pro is good for you. Instead of pouring into probably more than $700. Is it $700 or is it $800? I might be wrong. It's probably $800.
I think it's
$7.
Is it $7?
Yeah.
Okay. So the $200 increase is better than putting out probably way more than $700 to a PC. Other than the fact that you can rebuild it and keep upgrading it easily. So basically, it's good to see that people have gone over the fact.
What's that? Jared might argue with you.
I'm fuming over here.
No, wait.
I'm fuming over here.
Did you hear what I said though?
Yeah,
I said for people who are not PC players, for people who do not.
Yeah, I heard you.
So what was the hot take there?
You said you would spend $200 more to build a PC.
No. I said you would spend $200 more to get the PS5 Pro than to spend more than $700 to build out a PC.
You don't need to spend more than $700 to build out a nice gaming PC that's going to last you a while and have the same specs and do the same thing that a PS5 Pro can do. That's okay. So I did hear you correctly. That's what I'm
you
saying.
You said more than 200. You said more than 200.
No. Hold on. No. I thought what I meant was at the $700 point and then $200 from that. So $900. You're looking at $900 to build a gaming PC. It doesn't cost $900 to build a really good gaming PC. You can build one for less than a PS5 Pro.
Well, tell that to me when your Black Ops 6 went down. And
that is a optimization issue. That is not a PC issue.
Exactly, it's an optimization issue. But with PlayStation 5 Pro, you can PC. Do 4K at 60, all the fidelity's there, all the performance is there. You're playing at the highest level that they're giving you. I'm not saying that
I can do right now on Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I can do 1080p, 150 FPS in performance mode.
That's fine. You could do that with. But how much? Okay, so how much did it take for your PC? If you didn't, you're very lucky because you didn't have to put much money into it.
I just like that you're like, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, I'm just saying.
That's fine, but we need to fight now.
For people who are starting fresh, do not own a PC, do not know anything about a PC, do not know anything about PC gaming, who strictly want to go for a pre-built console.
I get the novelty. The novelty of having a console, opening it up and plugging it in and having it working like that. I get that. Yeah, I get it. It's there. I'm a console guy too, just as much as PC.
No, I know you are. I'm just saying, for some people, they might not stretch into that territory of buying stuff for a PC because they just don't know. Right. At least with the PS5 Pro. And honestly, right now, the only pro version of a console out right now, it's not terrible. And my first thing with the future of PS5 is that I think, so PlayStation always does the, in June, the Days of Play promotion, which is just a whole month dedicated to promotional stuff and who's its, what's its. For the whole month. So you get discounts on games, discounts on controllers, discounts on subscriptions, etc., etc., etc. Which I think what will happen, because, and this is like prediction on prediction, by that point, Switch 2 will be out. It'll have a price point. And with that, I think PlayStation will announce the price drop to $400 on the regular base PS5. Easily. The disc version.
Done that.
Should have already done it, but it would be the prime time now to do it.
Yeah. I get the novelty of it. I think for me though, it's like the people who are going to spend $700 on a PS5 Pro. It's a novelty system, so it's like it's for like the hardcore Sony PlayStation fans, and so it's I don't know if there's a percentage out there where of people coming into the ecosystem of PlayStation right now through the PS5 Pro. I wonder what that statistic is of people actually doing that, because at that point, if you're coming in completely fresh, I feel like in my head I would just build a PC. But again, like you said, maybe somebody's like, I don't want to do that. And so, okay.
So yeah, I'm thinking during Days of Play, we do get a price drop on the base PS5 model. The Pro stays at $700. That's that. But we definitely get some kind of deal on the base PS5 easily. Just so they can combat with Xbox and combat with Switch, which will probably be marked at $400 as well. $100 from the $300, because they have talked about in recent going off plate here, but in the recent investors meeting, they talked about how Switch 1 and Switch 2 will kind of live cohesively together. As there will, kind of like how it was in the beginning for PS4 and PS5, where they lived cohesively together and there were games on both. And there still are games that are going on both PS4 and PS5, and there's still a strong player base there. So that'll be a while with Switch 1, Switch 2, where you can get one at $300 and play some of the newest games that are also on Switch 2, but you get more exclusives with Switch 2 and bigger games and larger games that work better on Switch 2. So it's kind of like a pro version, but also a sequel step up from the OLED and this regular Switch. So I think combating that is going to be a big deal. So yeah, that's a blue sky prediction.
Brian,
My other big thing. Oh,
sorry. I thought you were done.
no, sorry.
What I was gonna say this whole time is you guys debating over PlayStation and PC, and I'm over here just chilling with my refrigerator-looking Xbox Series X. I love that little console. It does everything I need it to do.
I have a Series S.
The S is fine.
Yeah, that's
like
what I mean.
S.
That's my console. New generation.
The S was the smartest thing that Xbox could ever have done during that time.
Thank you, because I feel like sometimes that doesn't get recognized enough, and so it's
you have to realize
awesome.
an S is the same cost as a Switch, and just go off that.
Yeah,
I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Think of it like, it's digital only, but and it only goes to 1080p, but you're getting the latest and greatest. Does it do 4K?
Yeah.
Is it 4K or is it 1440p?
Oh, that's a good question.
I think it's 1440p.
I know the X goes 4K.
The X definitely goes 4K.
Go ahead, make your point, and I'm going to look it up.
Okay. Again, we're swaying, but just the fact that like you're getting the latest and greatest with the Xbox Series S, and I don't know if it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but at the same time, we all know. I think personally, just my opinion, I just don't know what Xbox is doing with themselves right now. I feel like they're in this place right now where they really can't get a grasp on their audience. You've got a mixture of people who are very into online gaming, but also a very mixture of people who are very Japanese RPG players. They had that game Metaphor on there, and it was a huge hit. So they just really can't tag an audience down like PlayStation has. They're very focused on single player adventures, and as you can see with Concord, that never again will they do that.
Please, we don't want another one. Please. That's crazy. That game. Then that game cost them like $100 million or something to make. Something stupid. They could have split that 4 ways and made 4 Sly Cooper games. It's crazy.
Cost them $600 million. I'm pretty sure that game was in development for like 7+ years.
$600 million for.
It was a lot of money. I can't confirm it, but it was. I know the development time. The development time was insane to the point where it was like they could have been working on so many different things during this time, but yet to spend 7 years for a game that almost felt like Guardians of the Galaxy in some way.
So 400 million.
Still.
I guess the 600 was debunked, but yeah, it was supposedly 400 million. At least that was a quick little Google search. That's insane. 400.
That's more than what movies budgets are.
That's insane.
I mean, I know a lot goes in games, and kudos to the developers. Nothing against them. Money? I know they had a great game going for them, but because PlayStation wasn't, and again, PlayStation has its faults. Every console or industry has its faults. If PlayStation really wanted to sell this, they needed to do more promotion of this. And that's just the facts. We got maybe 2 trailers out of it. One being like a teaser trailer with no gameplay. The other being straight up 10 minutes worth of gameplay and showing everything flat out for 10 to 15 minutes in a state of play. That's not how you should be treating your PlayStation exclusives. Yeah. That's just the facts. Don't treat it differently. Dead on arrival. Anyways, sorry. I'll wrap this up really quick. Marvel's Wolverine is a definite. We get it. in 2025. The first trailer. It comes out in the holiday season. Definite. It happens. It's been last year Spider-Man 2 came out, so usually it's always a 2-year development for Insomniac. So I feel like that's confident to say 2 to 3 years. But I feel like they split the team for Wolverine and Spider-Man because they were both kind of announced at the same time in that same state of play when it first was brought about. So I think it's coming this year, or I think it's coming in 2025. And the first teaser is I'm holding out for January. I feel like they always do a state of play in January. So that's the month to do it, I think. And
hopefully it's good.
The next, yeah, me too. The next God of War iteration. I don't think we get it next year, but, well, I don't think we get much on it next year, but we do get some kind of a tease at like the June Summer Gaming Fest thing where they tease what the next iteration is going to be. And they always go to like different mythological places. So I'm curious to see where they take Kratos in this mythological story that he's got going on. And I wonder if it'll continue with how things ended or if we'll start fresh again and start with a different story. So yeah, that's pretty much my future for PlayStation. My hopes.
I don't have anything. Brian?
Bring back Uncharted.
Please.
Here's
Dude,
I have one more actually, and I didn't put it on here, but they're slowly working to make it better. But I think we really need to start working on PS Plus. I think they really need to start hammering in the stuff that Xbox is doing. Even Xbox is putting in like third-party licensed games.
They're doing a great job.
They're doing a great job. So I think we need to follow that mantra. Like in a perfect world, let's get Cars on PS Plus.
Please, for the love of God, before Game Pass does.
So those are my hopes. That's pretty much what I want from PlayStation. All right, cool. Great. So that concludes that portion. I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. If you're enjoying everything that you're listening to right now, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell notification, and make sure to join our Discord, which is in the description.
And the notification bell will be somewhere around here.
It's going to be right there.
Ding! Nailed it.
Before we wrap things up, we're going to play a little game of some gaming hot takes, which I know this is very popular among the gaming community, and people just love to share their hot takes on things. As you can see throughout this podcast, we already had some hot takes, but
yeah, sounds like we have different ones. A bunch of hot takes tonight. Jesus,
I have different hot takes though. I think they're good.
Yeah.
So
I actually don't really have. I think do I have?
Don't have any hot takes?
I don't think so. I'm just gonna kind of wait. I have a couple up here, but I'm gonna kind of wait.
We're just playing the game of see if we can like trigger Jared, basically.
Pretty much. Let's see if you can do it. Go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. Brian and I will bounce back and forth between ours. Oh, you want Brian to go first? Okay, let's let Brian go first. You want to ease into me? I get it.
Yeah,
you're scared.
I don't know what is he doing?
I don't know. His headphones are. I don't think he can hear us.
No, he can't. He can't.
Give me 1 second. I had to change my my audio source. My headphones were dying, and I had no USB ports to use.
Oh.
So yeah, I would either have to. I'd have to unplug the headset, the mic, or the webcam. None of it made sense. So
none of it made sense.
You guys are coming out of my laptop now.
Cool. Yeah. Brian, hot take. What you got?
My hot take. I mentioned some ones before, with Borderlands being one of the best FPS games ever. Yeah. I mentioned Cars potentially being the best movie to game adaptation ever. But I think mine is a little more out of left field, and this is for it's again for the FPS audience, but specifically for the Call of Duty audience.
Oh, here we go. I already know where you're going.
You guys know. In with Black Ops 6 coming out, it's made me think about past releases, and Black Ops 6 is a great Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And it's made me think about other great Call of Duties, and it's made me think about some other really underrated ones. And it made me realize that Call of Duty Ghosts is a top 5 Call of Duty of all time. And people are gonna go to war with me on this, and I just feel it. It's probably the last true. It was the last true boots on the ground Call of Duty we had for a while, and people didn't appreciate it enough. So once we got Advanced Warfare, which even then that one's not that bad of a Call of Duty, people cried that they wanted boots on the ground again when we just had one, and they cried that game was bad, and they're like, oh, we missed this game. Well, since you cried about it, now we're not getting a sequel. So you got what you deserved, which is so unfortunate. Maybe we'll get one. Maybe we'll get one down the line with Infinity Ward potentially moving off of the Modern Warfare series now, because we got a whole new rebooted Modern Warfare trilogy. Treyarch is going to make Black Ops till they die, so that Black Ops franchise is going to go on forever. They can do that for as long as I want. Modern Warfare is probably going to end. So if this is your incentive to make Ghost 2, Ghost was just if all things considered, a pretty standard Call of Duty. It was just very fun, very fast paced. It didn't have the best selection of maps, but no Call of Duty has the best selection of maps, honestly. In terms of like consistency, you have at least one or two bad maps, and I think that one at least had a good variety. Not all of them were perfect, but we still had some great ones. I think it has a very fun selection of weapons, including the Honey Badger SMG, which was probably one of the best COD guns ever. Yeah. It's so fun to use. The Remington R5 is such an underrated AR in any Call of Duty, and the most ridiculous LMG in any game, the chainsaw, which is literally like an LMG. Yeah, it didn't do the most damage, but man, putting a laser sight on that thing was the most ridiculous thing, because you really cannot aim down sight with that. But that game had such ridiculous things like that just made it fun. They were just having fun with it. They put Predator in it for the infected mode.
Did they really?
They put Predator in it. They had a Predator mode in it. That. They put Snoop Dogg, I'm pretty sure, was in that game too. So that's when it really started.
You could get Snoop Dogg talking to you, like calling out the things, like UAV calling out ahead.
Like your score streaks. Yeah, or not your score streaks, your kill streaks. That's another thing. It was one of the last games to have kill streaks, which people have said numerous times that they prefer kill streaks over score streaks. It was one of the last Call of Duties for a while to do that.
Yeah.
It has some really great modes that we haven't seen in a while. We had not only like next to Search and Destroy, we had a game mode called Search and Rescue, which nobody remembers anymore.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
It has one of my favorite modes ever, which has never made a return, and that's Cranked. That one it's TDM, except every time you get a kill, you have 15 to 30 seconds to get another kill before you explode. So it kept things moving. So nobody was camping. It fixed camping in Call of Duty, and no developers brought it back since then.
I never thought of that. Why. Yeah, that's true.
It fixed camping. That was literally their whole thing. That was the whole reason for putting it in the game, because people kept complaining about camping. So they made a game mode about it, and they never brought it back. So we're never going to get a Ghost sequel, because people complained about this. Every single little thing about that funny little FPS game. Gosh, another thing. The story, again, it's not a perfect story, but it's a very ridiculous, fun story, which at its core, that's what Call of Duty is. It's ridiculous and it's fun. You start out in space. You have missions underwater. The final battle is like on a moving train on top of it, like it's Uncharted. Like it's a nuts it's a nuts story, and it's set without getting into spoilers. If anybody wants to play through it, if you've never played through the story, it sets up Ghosts 2 perfectly. And guess what? We're never going to get a sequel because everybody complained about it. So
you're making everybody
feel bad about me.
No, don't feel bad. We got to get the word out for you.
Oh, please do. In the comments below, get hashtag COD Ghosts trending, please. Tweet it out.
Hashtag Ghost.
My hair is making me look like a crazy person.
Yeah, you look pretty wild.
If
the headset
Brian,
really did a
let's make a deal right now on tape. If they confirm Ghost 2, at any point, you have to shave off your whole head.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't do it, Brian. Say no. Say no.
Not saying they don't. Not saying they don't. If they do. If they do.
If they do. Just at all.
If they do Ghost 2, you have to shave your head. And that could be at any point. That could be 10 years down the line. That could be next year.
That's true. But if it's the next Call of Duty,
if they announce a Ghost 2,
I'll think on it.
I will get a buzz cut on camera.
Deal. All right, so Jared, you will get the buzz cut if they do Ghost 2. Only next year, you said?
Sure.
So only if they announce it for next year.
Yeah. I'll do it on camera.
Now,
can you imagine
if it's the announcement or like when the actual physical game drops? Because it could get delayed.
If they announce it.
The announcement. If they announce Ghost 2 is in development,
that's
all
it.
over.
I'll shave. I will shave my. I will get a buzz cut. I'm not going bald, but I'll get a buzz cut.
Deal. Tell your wife that.
I'll do it. Yeah, I will. She'd be like, "What is wrong with you?"
They're gonna do it, Jared.
They
peer pressured me, honey. What else am I supposed to do?
You have to understand. Call of Duty Ghosts is the next big movement. It's the next big movement. I have to shave my head for it.
You know what's funny? So there's an article that came out on May 13th, 2024 from a website called Gaming Bible that said Call of Duty Ghost 2 is finally on the horizon.
Were you looking it up to see if it was already in development?
I looked it up. I thought I saw a post that said it was something it has already started development, obviously, because they have a 2-year cycle. But I was looking to see if nothing. Okay, nothing's been confirmed, but it's just
listen, whatever it's
Project Anvil.
We'll see. We'll just see.
But
was it Sledgehammer that did Ghosts?
Infinity Ward.
Oh, Infinity Ward.
It was their follow-up to Modern Warfare 3.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
it was the follow-up not only to that, it was their answer to Black Ops 2. Because Black Ops 2 was the one that released prior.
Right. That's an uphill battle they had to face with that. Because Black Ops 2
Black Ops 2
is a classic.
Yeah, Black Ops 2 is you could argue is a top 3 Call of Duty. So
all time.
All time. Oh yeah. But yeah, Ghosts. It not only should get a sequel, but I do think it's a top 5 Call of Duty ever, and it doesn't get the love it deserves.
Agreed. And Advanced Warfare deserves to get a sequel too. Advanced Warfare, I played a lot.
Honestly, I think Advanced Warfare had a fantastic story, and I think that alone is deserving of a sequel.
I thought the multiplayer was awesome too. Brandon, what's your hot take?
Multiplayer is a lot of fun.
I have a couple, but I won't do them all. I'll save them for a later date because we're really running over.
Hey, we're having a good time.
Sorry, my Borderlands 2 rant went for like 10 minutes.
Listen, you had to get the word out. Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for hanging out.
My Borderlands
everybody.
2 rant, my Pokemon talk, and my COD Ghost thing is
what
enough
does that
for
Dr.
one
Phil
episode.
guy say?
We'll be right back. We'll keep it right here.
That's literally what happened.
Give us one, B. What you got?
I'll give you one. Um, and my one is the Wii U. The Wii U was a savior in some ways.
That's a broad statement. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
You gotta explain that a little bit more.
So I
I'm
think
intrigued.
in some ways, we all know like the Wii U was a failure, but
Yep.
I think if you think of it in a lot of ways, there were some things that saved it, and some of those being some franchises. So I was thinking about it often. I was like, like, would we have gotten Pikmin 4 if it wasn't for Pikmin 3 being on the Wii U? Or would we have gotten Pikmin 3 on the Switch at all? You know what I mean? Like, he took a risk to put a big franchise on GameCube that skipped a whole generation Wii, kinda. It got the GameCube games in Wii version, but
Yep.
he took a risk to put it on a not selling great console and go from there. And we got a Pikmin 4, and Pikmin 4 is known to be the best Pikmin, the game that they've been working towards since Pikmin 1. Other things like Splatoon, which,
Yeah.
again, a new
Started
IP,
on there.
they took a risk and they threw it on this Wii U, and it did phenomenally well to the point where it got not only one sequel, but 2 sequels on one console. And
Yep.
I'm sure that's going to continue down the road. And I think another thing is that it really changed. It really forced Nintendo to change. They really had to think like, wow, like we can't. This gimmick life has got to stop. The gimmicks are not going to work anymore. And it was a ride. It was a great ride. And all the other consoles were doing it too. Don't get me wrong. They were also being a little gimmicky with their stuff, with like the PlayStation camera and trying to think of a PlayStation Move was another thing. So it's like the gimmicks had to like stop at some point. But I think it helped them see where they could land in the market. And they looked back with the Wii, where it was a very blue ocean strategy, and they took that strategy and said, let's just make it everybody, a game for everybody, a console for everybody, and it worked. And I think that's what did the Switch so well, is that they went blue ocean and they said, it's going to be both a handheld and a console, something that hasn't been done yet, a hybrid console, which is, it's argued that there are other
Wii U
hybrid
kind
consoles.
of was kinda, but not really. Kinda, not really.
The Wii U,
Yeah, it was kind
Yes.
of a.
it was kind of
not
there.
really.
It was really close, but I think the issue that they had was like, well, gee, it's like if this is going to be a hybrid console, then why don't I just get a 3DS at that point?
Right.
So
Right.
it was like, and they were worried about that. They even made the 3DS a failsafe, because if the Switch didn't do well, they had to stick with just handhelds. But I think they positioned themselves in a way that they were really close to something,
Dropping stuff.
but it
over
almost
here.
felt every time when I'm talking. But it feels like the Wii U was the prototype for Switch. It definitely feels like
Yeah.
a development kit that was not meant to be released to the public just yet.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's a pretty spot on.
I know, but some people would
Just on the
say
Wii U.
the Wii U was just a flat out failure. Like, it just, like, in the minds of Nintendo, they were thinking was just like, it's another Wii, and that's it. There wasn't
hard to
any
market
thought.
it.
Yeah, I just think that was the issue, is that people were looking, and this was, another thing was like, another reason of the failure was like, they were a year before PS4 and Xbox came out with their new consoles. So that was like a rough patch. But I think because they took a step back, it helps them step forward. It helps them develop their own kind of market and their own demographic of people, both of which are families and young adults. They hit something really good. They struck gold, basically. And like, Brian said, when does somebody ever say that it's good to play Borderlands 2 on Switch? That sounds just infathomable. I don't know. That's just me, though. I think people just take the Wii U as like a failure, but I think in a lot of ways it saved a lot of things that made the Switch so great.
Yeah, it forced them to go back to the drawing board, and I think that's awesome. And then we got the Switch out of it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I don't think that's a hot take. Like I said, I think that's a pretty spot on take of the Wii U.
Yeah,
I think
maybe it's not a
probably
hot
the best
take, but
on
it's
the
more
Wii
of
U.
a reflection piece. I just think people need
Yeah.
to think about that more often.
People
if,
don't really,
if the Wii U didn't
really-
happen, where would we be today? You know what I mean? Would they have
Right.
gone?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so now give us a spicy take before we end this show. Give us a real spicy thing.
Me?
A real spicy
Alright.
take.
All right, I have two. So you pick which one's the most spiciest, I guess.
No, just throw one. Just throw one out there.
Well, I don't
care
know
what it
which
is.
one's going to be the spiciest too. I'll just say this. So third-party exclusives are a nuance. Or not a nuance, a nuisance. Sorry, I can't see my words. Third-party exclusives. Third-party exclusives. So not first-party exclusives. Third-party exclusives on certain consoles are a nuisance.
That's an interesting take.
I think it's just
I have to think about that. Maybe we can go back to that.
I'm podcasting.
And that's where we end the show. We just end it right there. Just nothing else. Just done. Just done. Brandon, that's a good
Anyways.
take. All right. What are we playing? What are we playing right now? We'll go back to that later. We'll go back to that question. It's gone. Just go.
I heard her coming up. She's like, "Where's Brandon? Brandon, are you here?" And she opens the door.
Was that your grandmother?
Yes.
You're just so annoyed. Oh, so funny. Brandon, what are you playing right now?
I am playing Mario and Luigi Brothership, which is just a phenomenal game so far. Highly recommend. Give Nintendo the support to keep that franchise alive. And secondly, I picked up my PlayStation VR 2 recently, so I've been playing some Beat Saber and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge.
I'm looking
Brian?
forward to the Stranger Things VR. Sorry.
Oh,
No, you're
really? There's a Stranger Things VR coming?
Well, that's gonna be crazy.
I have to look that up.
So I guess we're moving on to me. I didn't want to steal any. I didn't want to just jump into Brandon's way there. What I've been playing recently. So I started a couple games recently. I've been bringing my Switch to work with me to play on like lunch breaks. So I started. What did I start with? I started Firewatch. I started that on Switch because I bought that when it was on sale a while ago, and I'm not super far into it, but it got way heavier than I expected it to be. I'm
I've
like,
heard it's really good.
hey, I've heard it's incredible, so I can't wait to really dig into it. I'm probably not gonna play that. I'm probably gonna play that at home more than on lunch because I think I need something to like not give me anxiety because it's pretty heavy right out of the gate. So the other one that I started on Switch was another one that I got while it was on sale is Unpacked. I think it's called.
Unpacking.
Yes, I started playing that, and that's really like I love that. It's very soothing. It's very like melancholy, borderline. It's simple, but it's got a little bit of a story to it, which is kind of cool. Like a story you kind of just like pick up on. It's a very nice, just relaxing puzzle game. You can throw a podcast on or music, whatever, and just go through and play it. I'm only on the second level of it right now, but there's 3 different sections to it. Like you're unpacking in a room, like a dorm, I think it is, and then like a living space, and then a kitchen. So, or no, I'm sorry, a bedroom, a bathroom, and a kitchen. So I'm probably going to be playing that way more often now. Been playing some Black Ops 6. That's been fun. I have little to no complaints about that. It's just fun, and it's awesome that it's on Game Pass, so I didn't have to drop $70 on it.
Yep.
Been playing a little bit of Madden NFL 25 here and there. I just play a lot of franchise mode. So anytime I start up a franchise in any Madden, it's going to take up so much of my time. So aside from that, nothing much else. So that's what I've been playing.
Just listed like 5 games. What do you mean not
I'm
much
not playing
else?
that much.
I'm not playing much. Well, in terms of like playing time, it's mainly only Madden and Black Ops. But I've started other games. So
Right.
like once I start playing more of those, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm playing a lot. But right now I've got maybe half an hour into unpacking, and then maybe 20 minutes into Firewatch. So it's not much.
I've been I just finished for the very first time Portal, the original Portal. I played that all the way through. It's not a long game, it's pretty short. You could beat it in an afternoon, but I've never played it through before and it was really fun. I've also am in love with Civilization. So I've been playing a lot of Civ
Ooh.
6. I pick it up and then I put it down and then I pick it back up again and then I put it down. Love Civ. Love it to death. Excited for the new one. And then lastly, just like Bri said, Black Ops. I've played it a pretty substantial amount. As Brian made note the other night when we were playing together, he was like, yeah, I think you've played more of this than I have. It's like,
Yes,
yeah,
very
probably.
much so.
It's taken up a lot of my time, and it's one of those games too that my wife and I play together. She'll play on the Xbox, I'll play on the PC, and we'll play it together. And we'll just have all night sessions, and it feels like old Call of Duty again, like the Call of Duty to get excited about. And it doesn't feel like tacked on DLC. It doesn't feel like it just doesn't feel like garbage. It doesn't feel like nonsense. It just feels like straightforward Call of Duty. And from 5-10 years ago, this is it. And this is all people have wanted. Like Bri said earlier about COD Ghosts, people have wanted this for a while. And the Omni movement which is, Brandon, I'm not sure if you're familiar. It's literally you can move full 360 around. So like you're not blocked in any way from where you're moving. You can go anywhere. And so the raging that I've had, Brian's had, in Call of Duty, it's Black Ops 6 has been hilarious. But 9 times out of 10, when you're dying in that game, it's because of something you didn't do and something the player got an edge up on you when executing the kill, because they'll jump around and they'll beep bop everywhere. Anyways, I've put about 30 hours into it already, and it's been pretty fun. Really fun.
All right, well, that concludes our first episode of Trifecta Talks. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode.
Hour and a half long, baby. Hopefully you're still with us.
Yeah,
it's a feature film.
Well, we had to get our introductions out of the way and kind of get to know each other, so I think it all worked out in the best way possible.
This was so fun.
So with that,
I'm so happy we got to do this, guys. Yeah,
well, don't say anything else stupid, because I'm about to end the recording now. Alrighty, wow. With that, we'll see. We'll see you guys next time for episode 2. Join us weekly on Thursdays. That's the target date. But remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Ding!
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there.
Put it right here on my landing.
And also, don't forget to join our Discord, where we'll be having a lot more conversations outside Trifecta Talks. So with that, have a good night, have a good morning, have a good afternoon. We will see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.